There we go.
Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Good evening. My name is Patrick and I'm an alcoholic. My sobriety date is February 21st, 2003. And what a long, strange trip it's been. You know, it's good, bad, and whatever. I didn't come into AA wanting to be on my own. I had to have direction and I needed help. I'm going to read the daily reflection today because I thought that was really tied in some of what I'm going to talk about. A sane and happy usefulness. We have come to believe he would like us to keep our heads in the cloud with him, but that our feet ought to be firmly planted on earth. That is where our fellow travelers are, and that is where our work must be done. These are the realities for us. We have found nothing incompatible between a powerful spiritual experience and a life of sane and happy usefulness. All the prayer and meditation in the world will not help me unless they are accompanied by action. Practicing the principles in all my affairs show me the care that God takes in all parts of my life. God appears in my world when I move aside and allow him to step into it. That's important for me because when I was finally ready to get help for my alcoholism, I drank till I was 39, almost 40 years old. And I thought I had it together because I still had a job. I had the house, the wife, the dogs. But that alcohol, that beverage had me controlled. And other substances had me controlled, but I had those fairly, alcohol kicked my butt big time. It was just, I could not stop drinking. And I was a private chef for a family and great people, a lot of fun in my job and really respected these people. They are since gone now, but it's special for me to be speaking on Christmas night because I usually would be at their home preparing this big feast and working my butt off. And so it's an honor. And they were some of my biggest cheerleaders in recovery. So it's special for me to be speaking tonight and honoring them. But when I finally got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and the morning I went in to ask for help to get time off to go do something about my alcoholism, I was making them breakfast. I said, hey, after breakfast, I would like to talk to you. And they said, oh, that's great. We'd love to talk to you too. And so after breakfast, we sat there and they said, and they were these folks, even though they were my employers, they were my good friends. They were grandparents, mentors, just nice people. I spent a lot of time. I spent more time with them than my family because we would be traveling around the world and doing different things. And so it was really hard for me to go in and admit defeat because me being a good alcoholic, I think I was perfect in everything I did and blah, blah, blah. And when I didn't meet that perfection, I would laugh it off or not remember it. So I said, I have to talk to you about something. They said, okay, let's talk. And I said, I have a problem. Get ready for this one. It's a big one. I have a problem with alcohol. And they said, okay. And they knew for years that I would work hard, but I played really hard too. And I put myself in some dangerous situations. And but because of my higher power, who I call God, always kept me out of trouble. So when I told them that, they let me cry. They let me go through all the emotions. And when I got done and they asked me if I was willing to get help, and I said, yes. I had written down this rehab I saw on TV because of being a good alcoholic. I wanted to have all my ducks in a row and I had no idea what I was going to do. So I got done talking. They said, okay, yeah, you can have time off, but now you have to listen to us. I said, okay. And this was on a Monday morning. And they said, well, this is going to make what we have to talk to you about, because right now we have people on one of our airplanes flying in from Michigan, and they're going to do an intervention on you in about 45 minutes. So this is going to work out. And So the miracle happened. God was doing for me what I could not do for myself. And that's a great gift that I got. I think this Christmas season, I want to talk about the presence of the program. You know, um, I'm blessed with so much, even though at times I think I want more and more and more, but that's my human side. Um, so I was introduced to, I was sent off to rehab. They said, don't worry about anything. They took care of all my little problems. I was worried about my family. They said, it's done with. And they sent me away and they said, you can have as much time off as you need, and we will, you'll still be employed. Don't worry about payment of going to this rehab. That's going to be picked up. And the miracle started, but darn, I didn't know what I was into. I didn't think I was a true alcoholic because, I still had that stuff. But I was so sick and so deluded. I needed help. So after rehab, I went, and it was a cushy place down here in West Palm Beach. I had the guts before I went there. I called them up and asked them if I could bring my golf clubs and my tennis rackets. And they said, no, you live locally. We can send for that. And obviously they lied to me because I didn't golf or tennis when I was there, but I did get to work on something. The most important thing was working on this thick skull right here, and realizing that I had a serious problem with alcohol. And, that was the best 28 days I did. But the one thing I wasn't too fond about, it took me a week to like open up in groups and share. And, it's a whole process, and I wanted to just get fixed and go on. And I realized still to this day, it takes time. It takes a lot of time. And, but if you keep doing that work, like in the reading says, keep your feet planted on the ground, the rewards come. And so the one thing I wasn't really too keen about was going to these AA meetings. I was like, oh, I'm willing to do anything except I don't know about these AA meetings. But the first day I got out of rehab, I went to a meeting. One of my roommates from rehab picked me up, took me to a meeting. The second meeting I went to is still my home group. It's called Lantana, Serenity on the beach in Lantana, Florida. Beautiful setting. We meet on the beach on Sunday mornings at 7:30 a.m. and Friday night at 7. And beautiful setting. So if you're ever in South Florida, you want to attend a beautiful thing. We don't have a coffee pot. It's just us sitting on the beach, anywhere from 3 people to 60 people. And we sit there, and the miracles have happened. And I need a miracle every day. There's, the most important thing, another important thing that I have discovered is being honest with myself, but letting other people into my life. I thought I could solve everything on my own, but they told me to get a sponsor. My first few months, I was like, who knows me better than me? I wanted to be my own sponsor. And that I didn't drink, but I was still pretty crazy. I needed help. So when I finally let some people in, a couple guys into my life, and they took me through these steps, the miracles started happening. The process, it's a beautiful process, going through. I had a higher power in my life. I was a believer of God, but I used to, let God take care of the little things. I would take care of the big things. And until I turned that around through working with others, things started happening. I am truly blessed. The thing, I always thought I was honest in my life, but I was today in recovery. I have set my bar higher on honesty. I have to be honest to my sponsor. And I've thought at almost 60 years old, I don't need a babysitter. I don't need a sponsor. And now I don't consider my sponsor my babysitter. But he has more knowledge than I do. And he takes me through, he guides me, he knows me. I've been allowed to have my own work in the program with others, teaching them how I did it. You know, other people do it different ways. This is how I'm taught it. And I just can pass on my experiences. I don't know all the answers. And thank God, you know, because before I came into the program, I thought I knew every answer. You know, I was Mr. Know-it-all. You know, ask me a question, I'll lie to you. But working these steps, that's where I really, really think the core of this is where the miracle happened for me. You know, I became willing, you know, the willingness, getting up, suiting up. My sponsor, my original sponsor from early on had me doing service work immediately, helping others inside the program and outside the program. Asking for help. You know, I still continuously ask for help. Relationships, you know, getting to know people inside the meetings, you know, not just rushing into the meeting and then leaving ASAP. No, I used to spend a lot of time up in Michigan and traveling around the country. And the one thing was always the most important thing is going to a meeting, getting to a meeting. So we'd be traveling. I was fortunate, again, the people I worked for, sometimes they would push back their dinner hour so I could go to a meeting, or they were very understanding. And I'm blessed for that part of them. You know, they allowed me. They were, you know, every year on my anniversary date, these folks, they were, you know, pretty special to me. They always would give me a little gift, you know, little tidbits, a little small card of reminder. Because they saw me sometimes when I wasn't in my right mind. You know, I still days I will just ponder how a substance could just control me. But, you know, I don't have to dwell on that anymore. I know that I'm an alcoholic. There's no question about that. That's the greatest gift I have today. I do not have to pick up a drop of alcohol over anything. Right now, my life is kind of, you know, up and down. You know, just because I got sober doesn't mean life stops and everything's perfect. You know, my marriage is dwindling before my eyes. After like 35 years together, we see things differently, and unfortunately it's going to come to an end very soon. And I have two beautiful daughters who are about ready to get married, so we're trying to keep it together for that. We have three awesome dogs. When the people I worked for passed away, the kids were fighting over the airplanes and the boats and everything, and I just stepped in, and they had two beautiful dogs, and I said, I want the dogs. And that's the best gift I got, because I have daily reminders of them. I just have to look at a couple notes here. I'm sorry. Even in sobriety, I still make mistakes. You know, it's practice, not perfection. I had another buddy and I the other day, we had a outside issue that was going on, and I guess I said something or I wrote something. He felt I slighted him, so I had to suit up, pick up the phone, and call him and say, I'm sorry. And then he said something else, and I started saying but. And as we all know, after but is usually BS. So I just stopped myself immediately. And I said, okay, I am sorry. Whatever it is, I will try not to do it again. And, you know, that's a great gift. Learning how to live. You know, it's not so much anymore about the drinking and drugging. It's the thinking up here that I really have to work on. The thinking. thinking. And that's why the program comes so perfect for me, because I can go to a meeting. I don't always have to share, but I hear things that other people are going through, and they have told me how they have done it, how to go through it. The disintegration of my marriage, I've relied on some really great people. I also have been diagnosed. I had to go get some outside help. The old depression card came at me, and I was like, whoa, don't like being depressed. And I have some other people that I can call about that aspect of my life, and people also who are in recovery depression. So it goes hand in hand. I remember getting sober. I thought my life was going to be over with. I thought it was going to be work, going to meetings, work, going to meetings. But my sponsor and you folks have shown me how I can live, go out and be useful in the world, trying to help others, the great joy of watching someone coming in and learning and starting to get this program, watching them get sober. I talked to a buddy tonight earlier, and he was just celebrated 5 years. And I remember when he was fresh in, and I was like, wow, this person has changed. I kind of recognize his face, and I can recognize his voice, but the words coming out, coming in. They used to say AA is brainwashing. And I was like, oh, I don't need brainwashing. Yeah, I did. I need to be re-educated. And I have to have it keep happening constantly, because as a slightly flawed human being, I forget very easily. But one of the greatest joys I've learned in recovery, I used to love going around seeing live music, particularly a particular band. And this band is associated with a lot of hard partiers or whatever. And when I first got sober, I was like, I'd love to go see this band again. But one of their singers died and they weren't playing. And then they started up about 8 years ago playing. And I was like, I don't know if I could go to a concert with all these people. But another miracle happened. That's this particular music group. Some people who are like us, who have situations with alcohol and other substances, they started a recovery group where we can go to a concert, and we can go to a concert with other people and watch the concert, be safe, be a safe environment in a slippery location. And that fellowship has really blossomed in my life. There's a special, we meet twice a week online, and at concerts, it's like a great big family. And I owe them, this particular group, they're called the Wharf Rats. The band is Dead and Company, was the Grateful Dead, but it's the miracle of that, something about that music in recovery. It's a great joy. We're getting ready every year, except last year, we have a festival down in Mexico, and there's nothing better to see, like 40 or 50 deadheads in recovery sitting on a beach, and then going to a concert and hanging out with people and letting people come up to us and who might be struggling with it. And we just pass on our experiences, how we got it, how we got sober, how we stay sober. That's a joy, another present, being present for my family, even though there's times right now I don't want to be present. I'd like to just run away. But again, I would have to answer not only to God, which is my most important thing. I'd have to answer to my sponsor, and he's pretty tough. But I keep doing it. I don't want to run anymore. What else changes? AA has made me a better human being because of these steps. It has got me closer to my higher power, God. There's I have a debt to AA that I can never repay. You know, there's, I just keep going, keep trying. Um, I hope I don't get short on this tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little nervous, but I'll keep coming up with some things. I'll let God fill my head. But the joys of being sober. Going to a meeting for me, you're going to see your family, your friends. We don't love each other in the meetings, but we know we're unified over our common good. We want to stay sober. We want to help each other. We don't shoot our wounded. I used to remember when I was early on into my sobriety, people who have relapsed, and you see them beat up. And I used to go over and ask them, is it worth it? And I've never heard anyone say, oh yeah, it was great. It was great. It was something. So thank God. God keeps me in the middle of the stream. On my heart. I guess, Phil, that's basically what I have. I know I'm a half hour short of your time, but can we do something different? Can we open up to people, or you want me to keep trying to come up with things? Keep going. I got a cute story that happened to me in recovery. A couple of years ago, I was able to. I still make mistakes in recovery, and I was with my boss and his wife, and we had a important guest over at the house one afternoon. And it was a former president and his wife, and we're sitting around, and they were good friends, and they were having great conversations, and they were talking and joking. And I was just the chef, but they included me in on the conversation. And it was George Bush Jr. And what a nice gentleman he was. And he knows about this disease a little bit. And he was, some people were talking, and they were talking, and they had asked him about his mom, and they asked how his mom was doing. And President Bush he was quite frank on what was going on. And he said, in fact, my mom said to me the other day, he goes, George, you're a little bit different. He goes, yes, mama. He goes, you're a little bit out there. And you know why I think of that? He goes, why, mama? He goes, because obviously I smoked and drank during your pregnancy. And I sat there and I was like, holy F. I used the F word in front of the former president of the United States. I used it in front of the people who I held to a pretty high honor in my life. And I was like, oh my God, I just said the F word. Oh, I was panicking. I was like, oh gosh. But he looked over at me and kind of winked. He said, Patrick, that's not the first time I heard the F word with Bush together. So don't worry about it. So, I had to apologize to him, and he was like, don't worry about it. And, kind of humbly, here I thought, 15 years in recovery at the time, I shouldn't be acting like that, but that's why I still have to keep coming to meetings, keep asking for help. The big book, I've got the little copy here, and I have a friend, Jacko, up in Chicago. He's got 63 years in recovery, and he still reads this big book every day. He absorbs it. And, I never put anyone on a pedestal, but when Jack says something, I just sit there and listen. And I haven't seen him last couple of years, but we used to spend at least once a year with him, and to hear the knowledge. And he's still a hungry young kid in his mind, trying to learn, trying to maintain. And I keep that in my sobriety too, because, I will never have all the answers. I will never know everything. And that's why I can always be taught by anyone. A newcomer comes in, I always try to extend my hand, If they want a temporary sponsor or a sponsor number, I just raise my hand. And some people in my meeting, they'll always go like, why do you raise your hand? And I say, well, because they need it. I remember when I came in, and if a couple of people didn't come up and talk to me, I would have been, another time when I was up in Michigan early on in my recovery, must have been year 2. And I did a service day at the club, and these 3 gentlemen and I, we were placed in charge of painting the outside of the club, and 3 different walks of life, 3 different places, but we sat there and bonded, and we're still friends today. The friendships we form in our recovery, what a gift. I used to have friends, from using and drinking, whatever, and they were like blah blah blah. And I still have friends from high school and kindergarten, whatever. I guess I'm a kind of a social person, but my friends in recovery, what a gift. What a gift, because we can talk to each other on a different level. I can talk to them. I can let these dark little secrets out if I need to, or they can pick up on my body language if I'm struggling over something. They can, they teach me to remain teachable. And I need this. I need AA more than AA needs me. And so going back to the debt that I can never repay, I have to do it. So, Christmas Eve, we're sitting here, this year we decided not to have a family party till tomorrow. Nowadays I'm semi-retired, so I get to be home. And it's, for years I would be gone. Christmas time I wasn't a big Christmas person because I would be so in tune to my work and to my world. I go to run here, run there. And now my life has changed, and I can experience it, but I can tell you right now in my life, I'm not totally happy with where I'm at, but I'll keep going to meetings, keep asking for help, keep sharing, keep trying to help. Maybe someone can help me. I know someone can help me, but I can't help myself always. So, I don't know what life has in store for me, but I know the most important thing, I'm going to go back to this one too, is being sober. And just up to a year ago, I thought, I have AA to help me and blah, blah, blah. I don't need outside help for my depression aspect of my life. And I finally, with some suggestions of people in AA, they said, go out and seek some outside help. And that has been helpful for me. So if anyone out there, and if you're in that like strange little place in your life, and if you need outside help, just reach out. Especially this time of year too, a lot of people get slipped underneath the cracks and everything, and they get forgotten about. So try to be kind to each other. I had a couple phone calls tonight about a friend that we play tennis with, and he's homelessly challenged right now, and they were reaching out, making sure he was in a safe location tonight, because in South Florida, it's going to be in the 30s tonight. We want to make sure the guy's safe. And so I am more useful today, even though at times I want more responsibilities and stuff. I'm a better human being. I'm a better person. And I don't know where I'm going to go in life. We keep going forward, keep going forward. Today, I look at life differently. Going to quote a little lyric from a band that I like. Once in a while, I get shown the light, strangest of places, if you just look at it right. And that's so true. I look at situations differently. I try to smile at people today. I'm a useful member of society. I'm not perfect, and I know I will never be perfect. But I'm starting to ramble, so Phil, I hate to do it, but I think I gotta cut it right there. Sorry, brother.